Finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about today was a little bit about the Apple retail store, because I shared a story that happened this week. There were two big things. So one was an Apple store held ransom a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a hostage situation over at an Apple store demanding millions in cryptocurrency. That's what they wanted. Yeah. So there's pictures online of this guy, holding a hostage. It's only one person. I believe it's in Amsterdam. Yeah. That's where it was. He was apprehended, and the guy eventually didn't get away with it.
Did you see how they apprehended him?
No. Did you?
What happened was he wanted water, and the authorities sent the water in with a robot, and the hostage took that opportunity when he went for the water to run out. The perpetrator ran after him, and they ran him down with a car.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they ran.
That's one way to do it.
With a BMW assault vehicle or something.
Cool.
I'm trying to find it. I was like, and the guy was 27 years old. What do you? I don't know what the hell you're thinking.
Yeah. Well, he didn't get his millions in cryptocurrency. So, also another big thing, two big things that are kind of tied together is Apple is reportedly giving its retail workers raises to make sure they don't leave the store. Now, we were a part of a pay raise once, if you remember.
Yes.
Do you remember how much we got? It was like a $2-3 raise or something like that, right?
Yeah.
It was about that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that happened. I don't know if that was. I don't remember the exact year, but it was like 12, 13, something like that. That happened, and they were giving. Everyone got an upgrade because with the changes now with pricing, basically everyone's starting at $15 an hour now. Basically, it makes it a little tough to, justify the Apple prices now. So they're giving them a lot of new. There's been a big complaint, which we'll get to next, about that. But I don't think everyone's getting the pay bump. I think it's going to be depending on the store where you are. I can't imagine that our old store would not get a jump in that, but I think it's like they're also added a lot more benefits over the last couple days.
Well, don't forget, we also got restricted stock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I always want to bring this up. I was a part-time employee, okay, and I got restricted stock benefits. I mean, where in the world are you going to go with a part-time job and get restricted stock from the company? I mean, as much as people say, Apple can do this and Apple, they do a lot, in my opinion, they do a lot for their employees that they do not have to do. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. Part-time employees, you get medical benefits. Where are you going to get that at? I mean, come on. Yeah,
I mean, they just announced like sick days and vacation days for part-timers.
Yeah. So
they're giving them a lot. And then I think parental leave. So they are adding things in the back end, but they just got to give them the pay bump. The pay bump is, at the end of the day, the most important thing. I don't care what else they give you. And by the way, those are optional. Some of those are optional things. You're not entitled to do those.
Listen, I worked for a long time. Money is only a short-term motivator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is. It's not the biggest motivator of why people are in a job.
Right.
Okay.
It's everything. You got to think of the whole thing package.
So
and I usually do. I think I'm because I want to take advantage of everything that you're given. If you're given stuff like if you're giving stuff for free that they're offering you, take it. That's part of it. They probably have one of the best benefit packages ever. Like they really have to be up there.
They do. I mean, they had the tuition. I'll call it the tuition buyback. If you had student loans out, they would refinance your student loans at a lower rate.
And they did that.
Come on.
And I got that, and that was very late to the game, right before I left. That was a brand new thing they did. which I absolutely took advantage of. In fact, I had a hard time. I couldn't do it myself, and my mom couldn't do it. I had to get my dad to do it because he doesn't use credit cards a lot. So I guess that's like why. But everything was technically refinanced under him.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it. So I thought that was just so interesting how I even though my credit score is so good, it didn't matter at all. The last thing is Apple, though, with this whole controversy, people feel that Apple is making so much money to the point that the retail workers are not getting what they want. So this is from the Washington Post. Spurred by wages that have stagnated below the rate of inflation and encouraged by successful efforts by Starbucks employees to form unions, retail workers say they hope that they can push the world's most valuable company to share more of its record-setting profits with the workers who sell, repair, and troubleshoot products it sells. So it sounds like they're going to be a union for that. And, the recent news was that Tim Cook is being given a $99 million compensation package for 2021. I think that's what triggered this. So that's something that's going on right now that they have to deal with. Well, now, go ahead, rant.
I'm just going to listen. When you join a union, you're going to pay union dues. Mm-hmm. So Apple's paying you $21, $22 an hour. Mm-hmm. Now you have to pay monthly union dues. What are you getting for that? Right. That Apple's not already giving you.
It's just I guess fair, like a justification of a pay increase or a pay raise. I guess it all comes with it.
When I worked for Apple for almost 11 years, and every year I got a pay raise. I got a review and a pay raise.
Yep.
So it's just like anywhere else, even with a union, you're not doing your job. So here's the scenario. Now you're part of a union, and regardless of how you're doing or how you're performing, you're going to get a raise. So let me ask you: Are you going to bust your hump and go out there and work better and more efficiently if you're not going to get a better raise than the person who doesn't?
But I also think a retail environment's not the spot for that.
Well,
it's
what do you mean, for a union?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Listen.
Like pro wrestling, pro wrestlers don't have a union. Like they need a union. And think about it. They're hired as independent contractors. That means they have no health insurance whatsoever. They pay for it out of their own pocket.
Right.
And technically, one company who technically is an independent contractor, they can't work for anybody else.
Yeah. No.
Have you read about that? Yeah. So
I'm going to ask you a question though. Mm-hmm. How hard is it for somebody to get fired at Apple?
Pretty hard.
Without a union.
Basically, you have to steal something in order to get fired.
I mean,
get caught.
They really have to build up a case, whether through either inefficiencies or poor reviews and all of that kind of stuff for them to fire you. So, from my perspective, I'm just going to say, be careful what you ask for.
Right.
Right.
Well, let's see where that goes. I honestly don't see it going very far. Personally, I think especially when they're just getting pay raises, I think they're justifying that. Of course, not every store is probably going to get it, but most stores I'm sure will. So let's hope. I mean, I haven't heard anybody from our store say they got a raise, so I'm trying to get feedback from that. But good episode. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about iCloud. So we'll dive a little deeper into the iCloud, which I think is, we can also talk about the evolution of iCloud, because I think it all starts from when we started, which was .Mac, all the way to MobileMe, which led to iCloud. We could dive a little bit on the audio side of our podcast. We could dive a little more into that. So as much as the YouTube video is very helpful, we want you to come here and listen to the audio version of the podcast, because we think that you get a lot out of that, plus the training.
Yeah. One last thing. One of the reasons I used Keynote for the YouTube video was because it's kind of a precursor. I'm going to be doing a video on getting started with Keynote, and we can talk about some do's and don'ts about when you do a presentation.
I'm also going to talk about Final Cut. I'm finally at the point now where most of the gigs I have are done, and the next gig I have is a Saturday, and I want to do a whole video on Final Cut. And because there's so much to it, I'm going to break it down to like one section for like just importing. So you want to break that down. So that's something I'm going to come out with soon, hopefully on the channel. And maybe Frank will learn something.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, when a couple of comments that I got back, they mentioned that they felt the video wasn't for beginners.
Yes, so, I responded to that one too. I was a little upset by that.
Yeah. Well, I
responded. I responded to that person like what they were missing, and then you know what I did? I sent them the actual links to what Apple says what to do. So I wasn't going to make a whole video on that because here's the reality. When you want to open a new document or save, it's the same in every program.
Right.
That is not something that I think we have to dive into. If you can figure out YouTube, you can figure out how to save your file. I'm sorry. That's just how I believe it. We're not at the era anymore where, I think we're not in that era where computers are foreign anymore. I think people understand the idea of file save. You don't have to start with
turn on the computer, make sure it's plugged in, Right. Well, and again, when I did that video, there are basic assumptions. You figure people have at least opened and explored pages, numbers, and Keynote.
Right.
Maybe that was a wrong assumption. I don't know, but
well, it doesn't matter. I set the article so that way they shut up about it because I thought that was the dumbest thing. It is absolutely for beginners. If you're talking like I've never touched a computer in my life, fine. Yeah, I sent you the articles. It tells you exactly how to do it. So, other than those comments, and like I said, I respond to every one of them. These videos are great. They are getting great feedback. Of course, we are the #1 numbers video on the planet. So that's not a bad deal. But I want to thank every single one of you for joining us for this podcast. We appreciate your support and love. We want to get to 1,000 people. We'll have a big celebration when we get to 1,000. But we will see you guys next time. I am Will. That is Frank. And I love every single one of you.
Take care, guys.